Okay, in this video I'm going to address something that I've been asked to talk about, and that's how do you put signals around a crossover. And I guess this is a little bit of personal preference, but this is the logical way that I would set it up. We have basically a crossover which involves two turnouts, two left-hand turnouts that are connected. So we're going to need signals as though we were setting up signals for two separate turnouts. The only difference is that we probably don't need the C light or C signal that we've talked about in previous videos. We don't need the C for either of the turnouts because it would be too close, and we will have some redundant lights to show us what is going on, so we don't need one entering from the C or siding direction on each case. So here's how I would set these up. I would put an A1, A2, in other words, a double headed mast at this location on the throat to turnout 21. I would put a double-headed mast to the throat of number 11 going this way. I would then put a single mast, which would be B, on the main line going into turnout 11 against the turnout, and likewise a B light on the main line going in against turnout 21. So that would be the way I would set them up. So I'm going to quickly put those in there. Then I'll come back and show you how to set up the logic that would be associated with each of those so that it makes sense. Okay, here you can see the table that I have created 6 lights, and I've labeled them turnout 11, A1 and 2, and 11B. Turnout 21, A1 and 2, and turnout 21B. Okay, I haven't placed them on the track diagram yet. We'll do that next. And notice that I've only used 6 signal heads. That means that if we are using our same layout that we have previously, we're going to end up only using 6 of these 8 instead of all 8 of them. You can use any ones of those that you please. You can do A1 and A2 and B, A1 and A2 and B, and then the 2 C's will be left open for use, for example, in block signals between 2 blocks. Remember, in the previous video that I just did regarding a different way of looking at the numbering system, you can control each of these individually by how you define the control numbers, the switch numbers that come from our turnout tables that we've talked about before. So in this case, we're only using 6. I've defined them with just the first 6 numbers that came up under an SE74, for example. Okay, now we'll put the signal heads onto the diagram to indicate the proper configuration to signal the trains whether they can proceed through the turnout or crossover. So we'll start down here with turnout 11, and we previously said we'd like to put a double-headed signal that we would call A1 and A2. So up at the top up here, we're going to put a signal head icon. We have to put the drop-down box, and we'll take the one that I've already defined as turnout 11, A1, and holding the shift key down, we'll put that signal by left-clicking. We'll put it on the diagram where we want it to display. It's facing the correct position, so we're okay with that one. Now we're going to put the second icon, which would be A2. We'll put that just below the other one, move it in position so that They are looking like a double-headed signal. All right, great. We've got those two located. Now, to complete the other side of this, we would put the B signal, which would be over here, be on the right side of the track, going this way. So again, we'll use the drop-down box, take the turnout 11B, shift, left click, put the icon on the diagram. It's facing the wrong direction. If you remember our previous discussions, the way to fix this is to rotate it 180 degrees. So 1-8, okay, and there it is. Okay, so now we've got, you see the icon labels come up when you hover over the icon. So we've got turnout 11B is there, turnout 11A1 is there, turnout 11A2 is right there. Okay, now let's do the same thing on this other one, and then we'll talk about the logic. So again, we're going to use the drop-down box, pick turnout 21A1, shift key, left click, put it on the diagram. It's not facing the correct way, so we'll get it where we want it and rotate it 180 degrees. There it is. And we'll put A2 over there. Rotate it where we want it, 180 degrees. Okay. Get them lined up nice and neat. Okay, so now we've got, you see they're already, the icon labels are there. Turnout 21 A2, that's, yeah, we got them backwards, got them upside down. So that's a good reason to check it once in a while. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I still got it wrong. Well, all right, so that one right there is A1. This one is A2. All right, I had it right the first place. I don't know why I read it wrong. All right, so now we want to place the B light on the other end of the main line over here. So we've got it set, chosen 21B, right? Left click with the shift down. There it is, move it into position, and it's already facing the right way, so we're good to go. Okay, so we've got all the lights on there, but they don't tell us anything. If we change the position of these turnouts, we have nothing happening. Well, there's a couple of things I see right away. First of all, if you change one turnout, you'd like the other one to go with it. You don't want to have to change them separately. Okay, so we're going to have to fix the fact that these need to be connected together. You can take either one of these turnouts and right-click on the symbol, well, there, and come down to the edit position, and you'll get a box pops up out of sight for what we're doing right here. I'll bring it over, and you'll see that one of the choices in the turnout box when you edit it, it says also throw turnout. We'll click that little box right there, and here's the supporting turnout, and it is turnout 21. So we'll put that in there. If you have a problem with the way you've mounted your turnout motors underneath, you may have to click the invert second turnout so that they both will work the way they're supposed to when you get them actually installed on the layout. Right now, these are not connected to anything. This is an imaginary layout, so it won't cause a problem. But if you need to, you can get it to invert the turnout so that they work the correct way. And you can play with that to figure that out. But anyway, we've got this hooked up now, so we'll say done. So now if you click one of these, they both turn. If you click them, they both turn. So now they work like a real crossover, like you would set them up, whether you operate both of them with the same turnout motor or whether you operate two individual turnout motors. That's how you can hook them up to work. This one assumes two turnout motors, turnout 11, turnout 12, and we did it by editing this particular turnout data to have it swap both of them at the same time. Okay, so that's one thing that's fixed. There's one other little area that I want to show you. And in order to do that, I'm going to zoom in on this diagram. I think I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit more than it is, just so that we can see it. You notice that where these two turnouts are connected on the thrown position, there's a little bit of, there's a circle here which indicates that there's something there. The best thing to do is to grab hold of one of these and pull it out like this so you can see it. And what this is that whenever you put in JMRI, when you put two turnouts together, they will connect with a segment in between them. And this segment does cause a little bit of problem sometimes because it is not associated with either one of these turnouts yet. If you click on this circle, right click on it, you'll get the edit box for it. And if you look up at the edit box, which comes out of view for us, you'll notice that there is no block assigned to that segment. It's also not in blue. And what we need to do is to assign it a block. Rather than assign it a special block, unless you have a need to do so, what I would do is assign it to the same block as either one of these turnouts, so that it is just considered a part of that turnout. Just for sake of discussion here, we'll assign it to block 1011, which is the block that contains turnout 11. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to drop down the box and select block 1011 here. Okay, and when I click done, this will turn to a dark blue and it will be associated with that block up there. So now this whole thing will be associated with block 1011, which is the block that contains turnout 11. That's just a little quirk in the JMRI, and you need to be aware of it there, because otherwise sometimes when you're looking at your screen, it'll look like there's a little segment in here that didn't turn red for active, and that can kind of mess up your visual. I'm going to return the zoom now to where it was, so that we're back where we started with. Now, at this point, we're ready to define the logic for all these lights. Well, it's just like you would think they would be. We'll start down here with 21, work left to right. 21A1, if we right-click on it and select logic, we get the logic box that, I'll move it over here where you can see what it is. I think that'll work. Okay, now, so we're setting, this is the logic for this signal A1 for turnout 21. Well, first of all, this is a signal that's on the main leg of a turnout. So we need to choose that to begin with, or else we won't get this possibility of monitoring the position of the turnout. All right, so while we're talking about that, let's just set it. So this light down here, A1, should be red if the turnout 21 is thrown. So there we go. I'm just going to apply that so we can see as we go along. It's green now because the turnout is in the closed position, not thrown. If we make it go turnout thrown, then we get the red light. Okay, so we'll put it back. Let's put it back to the closed position. Now, what else do you want it to monitor? Well, you'd like to monitor if there's a train in the block that contains that turnout. So that block is 2021. So we want it to monitor 2021. All right, we've got that. How about block 202? There's no light at the beginning, there's no signal right now at the beginning of block 202. So shouldn't this light also say if there's a train over here, we want it to be red because we don't want to go past here until that block is clear, because there's no other light to stop traffic. So up here we would choose drop down box and we want block 202. That's this block right here. So now we've got the light protecting this block where the turnout is contained and the one after it, as well as monitoring the position of the turnout itself. So we've got that all set for right now, and we'll just choose OK, apply, and close. Now, as we turn this turnout back and forth, we get the red light. Now, I'm also going to show you by up here we can go to the tools and bring down our sensors table. And if we choose block 202 and make it active, that turns this red and it turns this light red. So it's protecting that block. It would also protect if this were red. Either way, it's going to work for us. So if there's a train in the turnout or in the block that follows, either way, that's going to be red. Well, what happens now if we turn the turnout? Well, the block that controls the turnout is still occupied. So you're going to get a red light. It doesn't matter what you do with the turnout. It doesn't affect it, does it? Okay, so let's make these two back so that there's no train in there. Now let's take a look at what we want to set up for the A2 light. Again, we'll right click on the icon, choose Edit Logic, bring the box down where we can see it, most of it anyway. There we go. And now this A2 light is on the diverging leg of a turnout. Remember, they're not associated. They're hooked up to two different places on our SE74. So we control these independently. They don't have to work together. We're telling them how to work. So this A2 light is on the diverging leg of a turnout. And the turnout that it's protecting is still the same one. It's turnout 21. So we'll check that. And we're saying that the light will be red if the state of the turnout is closed, which it is right now. So let's just apply that and see if it turns red. Sure enough, there it is. Okay, if we make the turnout change, these two lights reverse themselves because it is in fact monitoring exactly what we wanted to do. But now what else would we like this light to monitor? Well, we still want it to monitor if there's a train in the block that contains the turnout. So we're going to protect the sensor up here for block 2021. And how about the next one? This is where it gets dicey because, again, we didn't put any C signals on the other part of that turnout. So in this case, I'd like that light to monitor if there's anything in this block up here, which is block 1011, the block that contains turnout 11. So we're going to choose to monitor also the sensor for this block up here, so that if there's anything in that block, it would be it will make this light go red. Well, okay, how about this? Well, this is up to you. If you want to take one more step and say, look, if there's something in 102 with the turnout set this way, we still don't want to go past this signal. So we can add block 102, which is up here at the top. Can't quite see it. block 102 into our list of what's going to be protected. Okay, so we're protecting, we're looking at 3 sensors. The sensor for block 2021, block 1011, and block 102. So if any of those are occupied, you're going to get a red light. You're also going to get a red light if that turnout is not set for the siding or for the crossover. Okay, so we've got this all done. We can apply it. Nothing changes because we don't have anything occupied. And close. All right, so now let's test some of this. We'll go back over here and we'll make, let's start by making block 2021 active. Okay, can't go in there because there's something in there that's causing this to be occupied. We don't want to go past that light. Okay? All right, so let's make that inactive. Let's make the other block, 1011, be active. And again, we're getting a red signal even though the turnout is set because something is still occupying this block up here. We don't know what. All we know is that you can't go there. All right? Now, I'm going to do one more thing. The turnouts are all set to go through the crossover, but let's suppose there's still a train sitting here in block 102. So the turnouts are all set, but you still can't go past this light because the light is monitoring all the way through to block 102. Now, what happens if you change the turnouts? Well, you would get a red light down here anyway, so it doesn't matter what's going on up here because the red light is red, or the light is red because the turnout is not set for the crossover. It is set for going straight ahead. Okay? So far, so good. All right, I'm going to make that block inactive again, and we'll come back down here, and let's take the other end of this same signal. This is the B signal for 21, turnout 21. Okay, right click, edit the logic. We'll get the box down here where we can take a good look at it. And needs to be over here a little bit more. Okay, now this light is on the main leg of a turnout, so we have to put it there so that it will monitor. If we put it on a single block, you don't get to put in a turnout that it's monitoring. So it's on the main leg of a turnout, and the turnout that we want to monitor is number 21. If we apply it, it's going to give us a green light, both sides. If we turn the turnout, it changes both of these lights, saying you can't go straight ahead. That's the way we would want this to work. Okay, so go back. Now, that monitors the turnout, but what about block detection? Well, we have the same problem here. First, we want to monitor block 2021, so that's the easy one. 2021, we're going to monitor that so that if it's active, this light will be red, stopping any trains right there. But also, keep in mind that because we haven't put a light, a signal, going this way into block 201, we can let this light monitor that as well. So one of the blocks that we want to monitor would be 201 up here, so that if a train is in block 201, this will be a red light. Okay, so we can apply all that, close it, and we have this one set up so that those 3 signal lights are working the way we want them to. We want to test it. Let's make block 201 active. And look what happens. This is now saying, wait, you can't go past this light, because this light is right now monitoring not only the block here, but the block beyond it. And it's saying, can't go there, don't do it. So that's how we would set this up. And obviously we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And we'll just run through that real quickly. The A1 light, edit the logic. And bring it down here again. It's on the main leg of a turnout. It's going to monitor turnout number 11 now. The block number, covered up by the box, is block 1011. So we want it to monitor that. And we want it to monitor the block beyond because we don't have a signal right now to monitor whether there's anything in block 101. So the other block we want to monitor is block 101, which is way at the top. You can't see it on your screen. Okay, so we'll apply all that, close it, and if we switch the turnouts, it goes red, just like it's supposed to. Okay, so that takes care, well, we can activate block 101, and sure enough, you're going to get a red light up here. We knew that. We also knew that if you activate 1011, you'll get a red light, because that's the way we set it up. So that one's all set up. And this one, A2, is going to be the same as what we did down here, only going the opposite way. So right-click, edit, the box down here where we can look at it. And again, this now is, this A2 light is a diverging leg of a turnout. So you have to choose that description of where the light is mounted. The turnout we're monitoring is number 11. Okay, that's this turnout right here. We want to monitor the block that we're going into, in this case block 1011. So we'll choose that. We want to monitor block 2021 because we don't want to start through here if that one's occupied. So we'll choose 2021, and then same problem. We do not want to go here if this block 201 down here is occupied, so we'll say block 201 gets monitored as well. We apply that, close it. Okay, now this is the A2 light we just defined. Well, if the turnout is set straight ahead, it's going to be red. That's okay. If the turnout is set for the crossover, right now everything is clear. You can come into the crossover and exit. But if we were to, for example, make block 201 down here, you can't quite see the numbers on it. I apologize for that. Just can't get everything into one thing. But if we put block 201 active, now we're going to get a red light back up here, A11, A2, because you should not enter the crossover because you can't exit the crossover. There's a train there. The same would be true if block 2021 was active, okay, or block 1011 was active. You're still going to get stopped over here, no matter what you do. And we can make any of those inactive, and you're still going to get stopped. It has to be able to enter the crossover and go all the way through. That's the logic that we just set up in there. So that's the only time you'll get a green light, is if you can enter the crossover and go completely into the next block. Okay, so we've got that logic set up correctly. Now all that remains is to set up this last 11B light, and that's an easy one. We choose to edit it, we bring it down. It's on the main leg of a turnout. The turnout is number 11. It's going to protect the block that turnout 11 is in, which is block 1011. So we choose that. And we want it to protect also block 102 because we don't have a light facing going to your right. So we'll choose also to monitor block 102. We apply all of that, close, and now we have a complete system for the crossover. If we change this, you'll see that we've got greens going in either direction into the crossover. We've got reds on the two B lights, and everything looks good. If we change and make any of these other blocks active, we're going to get a response. So if we make block 201 down here, if we make that one active or occupied, then this light up here is going to give us a red. That's doing exactly what we told it to do. So that is the way that you would set up a crossover, in my estimation, with just 6 lights. That's all you need, 6 signals. And that will make for a complete crossover monitoring system. And I didn't point it out too much, but if we extend that one little block in there that is the connector, if we make block 1011 active, that little section is also going to be active, so that on your diagram everything looks correct. You probably would never notice it, but in my own layout I've run into a couple problems where it didn't look right, and so I wanted it to get changed. So now make that inactive, the whole thing is inactive again. So there's your crossover setup. A couple people asked me how to wire that. Again, it's very easy. You can use any 6 of the screw terminals on your SE74 board, any of these, like we talked about earlier, and you'll have 2 extras. If you don't wire the C's, if you do it like they're labeled on here, then you'd have the C connectors that are available, and you could use those for block entrance lights between 2 blocks somewhere else, because you'll need 2, one for each direction. So that would be how to use those extra connections. Okay, hope this helps.